Hello, everyone. I'm Chester44, Hostinian Spalai, and welcome to this Let's Play of Citizen Sleeper. Last episode, we finally finished things up with Fang and got our tracker disabled, and now SNARP will never be looking for us. We are free from them once and for all. But we still have so many other things that we can do. And I think one of the things we can start with is finishing up clearing the overgrowth for this area. We'll have ourselves a garden. Layers and layers of rotten mulch come away from the corroded metal, and among it, pale and delicate, you find a bird's skull. Eef. But the old growth of the aviary has created a rich medium into which you can place the spores from the groves. They'll grow well here. The moist corners of the aviary make the perfect beds for the spores. Once they are filled, they can be left to grow. So we need 3 spores here. We need 3 spores for her to deliver, and we need 1 spore way down below. So we need a lot of spores. Okay, well, this will get us 2. This could get us 2. Yep, that got us 2. So we can take care of a few things. In fact, I think these will require time, so here's what I'm going to do. Let's go ahead, regain energy. There we go. And now, I'll go ahead and put these in here. The spores can start germinating. There we go. And that'll take... The spores need time to germinate and spread in the aviary. The indirect sun of a few cycles should help them along. 4 cycles. Alright, that's something we can do. And now, we cross over the rim here. We can go and hand these spores in. Spores for Tala. Oh no, she needs 3 as well. Well, we'll need to get more, which we can do next cycle, I think. Try and get as many spores as we can. We need a total of 5. I think we can get 5 with this. Alright, so... collect more spores. 2. 4. And this one should be good. 1 more. That got it. And I'll go ahead with another of these. Well, since we're here, we may as well hand you over these spores. Rico is grateful for the contribution. Sleeper, you warm my heart with each delivery. Thank you. Sleeper. Rico greets you without so much as looking up from her work. I have some of yours here. Come see. She beckons you over to a heavyweight-looking console wired to a series of specimen jars, some of which contain your spores. Where did you get this? This, would you believe, was a Solheim console built to analyze the nutrient contents of the Greenway crop. Haifa have been using these for decades now, although sometimes they need a little tender care. You look at the machine patched with hull offcuts, the gaps between which reveal a tangled nest of wiring. If you're honest, it looks like it has received a lot of care. The spores you have here are a real cocktail, a selection of types from within the groves. But I've been able to isolate a few. She taps one of the specimen jars. Here we have Tricholoma matsutake. Rico breezes through the Latin and Japanese pronunciation as if it was nothing. A species Solheim somewhat modified for use on the station. She brings up a panel on her console showing a chemical composition, all gradiated all gradiented bars and obtuse acronyms. This is the composition of the Solheim modified Matsutake spores. Modified? Yes, every species on the eye is a tweaked variant of Solheim's, of course, but that's not the point. Rico brings up another panel identical in layout, but with widely different colors and numbers. You see, this is what your Matsutake spores look like. They aren't the same. That's the conclusion, yes. Rico glances at the specimen jar as if it might have something to add. They are fundamentally the same spores, but they carry different chemicals, different signals. She leans back and sighs. Solheim may have introduced their own tweaked versions in the beginning, but the groves have and still are affecting them. Affecting them how? It's hard to tell without samples of fully grown mushrooms. And herein lies our problem. She moves to another desk where two trays sit side by side. The first contains nothing but plant mulch. The second you smell before you even look at it, the pungent aroma of the fruiting matsutake like rotting sun overalls, laced with an edge of spice. The matsutake here are grown from Solheim stalks, pulled from a spore vault in this complex. They are delicious, by the way. The empty tray is germinated with the spores you collected. No activity, no germination. Nothing. But the groves are full. Yes, they are. Rika looks at you directly and you suddenly realize how much she is enjoying this. So here is our puzzle, Sleeper. Spores from the groves won't grow in the lab. But gathering fruiting bodies from the groves is too unpredictable. We need to grow a fruiting body from some of these spores, so we can track it, understand it. In short, I need you to become my mushroom farmer. Actually, I already started. Rika looks impressed. Well, well, an eager mycologist. I'd never have guessed. I assume you set yourself up in the aviary. I've been eyeing that place up for its proximity to the groves. Bring me whatever grows, not just matsutake. There's more than a couple of variants in there, so I'll need plenty of samples. She plucks a matsutake cap from the tray. These little things are reflections of their conditions, their smell, their taste, their chemistry. It all derives from the conditions of their growth. Enough of these and we'll have a picture of what is happening here, of the ways in which this biosphere is modifying itself, or being modified, whichever the case may be. Riko pops a matsutake cap into her mouth, taking you by surprise. And don't worry, Sleeper, she says while softly chewing. If this turns out to be a dead end, I'll make sure that not a single mushroom will go to waste. Okay, so the task is Jirol samples and matsutake samples. Riko needs mushrooms grown in the aviary to study. She'll accept Jirol caps, but matsutake caps are better. The pale and delicate Jirol mushrooms are more abundant than the matsutake, but Riko says they still help the process, and the rich and pungent matsutake caps are Riko's preferred subject of study, something about their environmental sensitivity. So we'll get those from the aviary, but we do need at least 3 Jirol caps for Ephes, which we can do next cycle. For now, we have the remaining spores here for Tala. They are so cute, says Tala, looking at the container of spores. Her excitement is infectious. Really? You think spores are cute? Well, okay. And Tala has locked herself away in the back room while she focuses on the distilling. She won't let anyone in or out. 6 cycles for that. You know what? That's fine. We need time to pass. So, we can go ahead and rest. And now, we can use this time to get the Jirol caps for Ephes. Oh, we are going to get so many Jirol caps. Okay, start the action here. Deep in a vent core, you find the amber caps of Jirols. In this micro-ecosystem, they are protected from other stranger groves. I actually do need to do this 3 times. There we go. That's all there. Now if I head back over, I can hand them all in. Let's see, where is he? There he is. Here you go, Emphas. Droll fricassee. Emphas eagerly takes the bright yellow Droll caps. He seems pleased with them. And it's gonna take 3 cycles. Emphas is working on gathering the ingredients and preparing the mushrooms. He doesn't like to rush these things. That said, we're gonna need money, and I think we can do some money things down here. I mean, it's a way to make money for a while. There we go. 15 credits. And I'll go ahead and buy something from Emphas. Oh, I can't. He's cooking it up. Okay. Can I buy from... No, I can't buy from the Tambor Tea House. Minji? I don't have the dice for energy. I should probably finish up with them. I'll do that next, cycle. I can buy from the stacks. Yeah, this'll do. It's not ideal, but it's something. It's only 2. Ugh. Alright, let's go ahead and rest. There we go. We got some good things so we can get a lot of money. And before I forget... There we go. Stabilized. Beautiful. And I should definitely get this money issue dealt with while I can. I got places I can work. If I work for Rabaya, that gives me scrap components, which would be good. I'd be able to use it to repair myself. But no, I don't want to do that now. Right now, I need money, and the best way to get money is working here. There we go. There's another 30 coins, which will be enough. I can't actually afford another bit of stabilizer, which would be good to have. It's nice to have a set of 2 prepped up. I still need more money, but that is still definitely an If I find the guy, that'll be 200, which is a good thing. That's something I can work on. I can work on that. Let's try this. That was 1. Wow, that was horrible. Okay, well, I can get some more energy here. There we go. And if we rest... Ooh, we can do the farming and actually harvest mushrooms, I think. Which would be good. Ugh, 3 singles. But we're at the aviary. What do we got? The fruiting bodies are appearing. Girollas are easy to find, but Matsutake and other stranger types will require extra effort. Take your pick. The crop of fruiting bodies has broken the surface of the mulch. Once harvested, you'll have to grow more. Well, we can harvest a whole bunch. There we go, 2 random rare. That's some random rares. There we go. We got 5 Matsutake and a club head, which is unusual and new. Oh good, an upgrade point. We need more spores to do the rest. I'll have to work on that. But I can hand you all of these Matsutake. Oh, I only need to give you a couple. That's perfectly fine. There we go. That wasn't bad at all. Rico meets you at the entrance to her lab, leaning on her crutch with a glint in her eye. Walk with me, Sleeper. I'd like to tell you a story. She makes her way down the corridor that leads back up towards the main commune building. When people first crossed what we call Founder's Gap into the Greenway, they did so against the wishes of Andre Erlin. At the time, Erlin was trying to stabilize the Union and establish control over the Eye in the wake of Solheim's collapse. It was chaos, competing factions, failing systems, so many dead and injured from the riots. That was his priority. Why? Erlin was interested in people, not plants. He was a pragmatist, and for good reason. You both crossed through a glass-roofed tunnel, the greenway outside crowded with vines and branches dappling the light. Erlin had written the greenway off. Cut off from the rest of the station and linked to a broken spoke, he claimed it was only a matter of time before everything here would die. He refused to let anyone abandon their duty to the Union and cross. They were traitors to the cause, or as good as. Rico continues, making her slow but steady way into the inner gardens of the commune. There weren't many of us, but we believed what was here was worth saving. We had to keep our plans secret until we crossed, and some of us left people behind. She pauses to catch her breath, her voice cracking. It is difficult to know if from effort or emotion. What we found was a disaster, nothing like what you see here. Half of the greenway was leaking oxygen into space, the plants flash frozen. The other half was a swamp of mulch as decaying matter clogged every system. We worked hard, we lost good people, we cleaned up and closed up, but it was never going to be enough. After many, many cycles, we all knew this place was doomed, but we kept on working, talking less and less because we couldn't face it. We all developed a death wish. If the Greenway was going to die, so would we. What changed? Everything. We crossed some invisible boundary, tipped some biological scale, and the Greenway started to recover. Plants flowered, crops sprouted. For the first time, we reaped the fruits of our labor. Rico smiles, looking up at you. We thought it was us, that we managed to do just enough to end the cycle of decay. I thought we had saved the Greenway. Until today. You pass into the grow beds of the commune, rich with the hustle and bustle of Haifa members planting and harvesting. For a while, Rico is quiet, and you both simply observe the hypnotic movements of the work crews, the eager chatter washing over you like a wave. Rico smiles to herself. I should have known, of course, that our arrogance was unfounded, but we needed to believe back then. We needed a myth to bring more people across the gap. You both move into a smaller corridor, Rico following some direction unknown to you. What you have shown me is that, back then, the Greenway saved us, not the other way around. Tell me, have you ever consumed one of the Matsutake or Girol caps that you have been growing? No. They can be difficult to prepare without proper equipment, but you should try them. After all, they were designed for you. Rico has a mischievous look. At first I thought it was the location they were grown that made them the location they were grown in that made the mushrooms from the aviary, from the labs, or from the grove different to each other. But what I have come to understand is that it is the person growing them. The Matsutake and Girol caps you brought me are totally unique, containing compounds never usually found in similar specimens in my possession. Many of these compounds aren't even digestible for humans. But for a sleeper like you... Rico smiles as she leads you into the internal garden of the commune, where the Haifa members planted species from all over the Greenway. Back when the tide turned, when the Greenway started to recover, we all felt something. A response. It was as if this place was not just alive as a forest is alive, but alive in other ways. Communicative. Responsive. We shrugged it off at the time, but now I understand why. Rico stops and turns to you. This place is responding to us, adapting itself to us. It is growing fruiting bodies for you, for me. It is adapting, changing. It is, in short, displaying all the signs of sentience. The Greenway is sentient. Perhaps not the Greenway, but the ecosystem itself, or something within it. Riko sits on a bench within the peaceful gardens and gestures for you to join her. When you have been growing the girolles and the matsutakes in the aviary, those species so familiar to the Greenway, have you discovered any others? Yes, I have. Riko can barely contain her excitement. I should like to see those. Please, bring me some the next time you are here. You look around the garden, amazed at the sense of peace within it. Riko interrupts the silence. There is a species of mushroom that I haven't seen in years. It is dark, short, shaped like a club. When we found it in those early days when we were working to save this place, it was around the time that we started to lose our first members. They were succumbing to some infection, some mold growing deep in the dark mulch that drowned this place. At that point we thought we were lost, and then these mushrooms emerged from that same black mold. We tested them, and saw that they contained some compounds that counteracted the mold. They contained an antidote. Of course, as a botanist, I saw this as part of the natural processes of this ecosystem, even if the timescales seemed absurdly short. But what I am wondering is if that antidote was a gift. Perhaps if you are patient, you will receive your gift too, Sleeper. You both sit for a while, Riko seemingly done telling stories for today. You watch the light playing off the leaves and plants around you, and wonder what forces could be at play in this place. After a while, you stand and leave, with a quiet nod to Riko, leaving her to her memories. Interesting. Clubhead samples. Riko is eager to see the clubhead caps that have grown in the aviary. She hasn't seen mushrooms like this in decades. Are these fruiting bodies the same that emerged during the early days of the collapse? Or something else? You hand them over to an eager Riko, who immediately begins work on the samples. We're gonna need to take care of more. But for that, we're gonna need more spores, which we can thankfully get very easily. There's 2. Ah, jeez. Starving, no. That is not what I wanted. Alright, barter for some food. That's it. We're gonna need to do some work next cycle. Otherwise, it'll be over. Alright, end this cycle. Ugh, a negative is bad. But I can do this one. So let's go ahead, collect some more spores, and we'll put them all in. It'll take another 4 cycles to grow them, but that's perfectly fine. 1, 2, and 3. There we go, and now it'll be another 4 cycles before that grows. Perfect. Have you finished cooking? You have, Emphis. Emphis is preparing the girolle caps. He has had to heavily adapt this recipe, he says, but the smell is already incredible. It emanates from a strange purplish-white bulb you have never seen before, and he's slicing it finely. He brushes and slices the mushrooms and then places them in the wok with the sliced bulb and the oil. They caramelize there in that well-worn cubicle. He adds liquids, transparent and opaque, and then turns down the heat. A sprinkle of leaves is the final touch. We have a moment, Sleeper. He smiles. Do you have a story? Something in the scent of the food gives you a feeling of nostalgia, something distant and melancholic. Seems like the story should match that feeling somehow, and maybe you'll feel better for telling it. Recall your oldest memories. You start by explaining that when you are emulated from a person, many of your memories are left behind. Perhaps it is an intentional part of the process, a way of keeping sleepers ignorant and malleable, or perhaps it is a side effect of the imperfect emulation. You admit that you don't really know. What you do know is that some memories survive, and that on occasion they come back to you, like shadows passing overhead. You detail one recurring memory, which despite returning to you with enough regularity for you to think it familiar, always fades as quickly as it arrives. You struggle to explain the feeling of being whole for a moment that comes with this memory, and then how that wholeness slips away to leave you feeling like you have forgotten something important, but just can't bring it to mind. Emphas nods throughout, cooking as he does with deft and skillful movements. You start to trail off when you realize you can't find the words to explain how the memories you do have feel like both yours and someone else's at the same time, and how that always fills you with a certain sadness. The sadness of remaining forever unknown, even to yourself. Emphas finishes cooking and meets your eye. I'm sorry, Sleeper, for your troubles. He puts the wok to one side. I appreciate you sharing with me. I hope it lightens you a little. He passes you a bowl and heaps the girolles into it, their yellow color mixing with the pale sauce in whirls and blooms. Eat. The dish is delicious, filling. It warms you as you eat in a way you weren't even sure your body could be warmed. It is a small mercy, you think, that SNARP left you this pleasure. Many of the features of frames that are there to simulate human experience, you know that much. Emulated minds cannot be rewired, so their need for embodied experience must be met. That is why you breathe even when you do not need air. Without that simulation, the sensation of drowning would be unbearable. Food serves another purpose. Your frame is able to metabolize it to produce energy from the raw material. Vitamins and minerals are excess, of course. Your frame only needs raw power, so much is wasted. And yet, while you eat this food and feel that warmth, nothing feels wasted. It all means something to you. As you finish, Emphas takes the bowl, the last of his cleaning. He smiles at you, and neither of you feel the need to say anything more. Instead, you simply exchange nods and walk your separate ways back into the bright markets, somehow changed. Okay, and fully gained. Emphas mentions an old recipe for matsutake broth. All he needs are 2 handfuls of matsutake caps, freshly sourced. Give me 4 cycles and I'll get you that other one that you need. And then we'll have a nice, good meal. That said, I do need money. I am dangerous. That is right. I have a way I can get 200. Alright. I'm gonna do it. It'll be a way to get a lot of money very easily. Search for signals. There we go. Let's do it again. You notice a spike of activity, a vast transfer of information taking place. What is happening here? One more time. As long as I don't get a fail. Beautiful. The trail ahead extends deep into an overgrown section of the greenway. At this far end of the ring, where the long, lazy curve of the greenway becomes the shattered landscape of the wastes, things are oddly quiet. Ahead stands a vast farm stack, broken from its axis by rust or force, and lying amongst the overgrown landscape like an ancient temple. It is stained with moss and algae, flows of green running out from its broken tanks like a frozen brackish tide. This is where Ashton is hiding. You're pretty sure. All your intuition points to the shadows beneath this collapsed superstructure. You roll the comm headset Ankita gave you in your palm. Go alone. You survey the route ahead. There's a direct route, a line of broken pillars that take you into the center of the structure. Or you could skirt around the pillars, keeping to the cover of the raised spine of the greenway, and work your way around. It'll take longer, but it is better concealed. Skirt around. You decide on the long route and head off towards the central spine. It is slow going there, where the overgrowth meets the metal wall, but it is so concealed that you can barely see the glass roof high above. You follow the wall, knowing it will lead you to the edge of the collapsed stack. For the final part of the journey, you have to work your way through dense undergrowth, pushing aside branches and fronds. It is exhausting, and you stop on a small rise to rest. It has been hours since you began. You desperately hope Ashton hasn't moved on. Just ahead, a soft glow is coming from somewhere within the farm stack. A grow light, still on after all these years, perhaps? You take a little longer to rest, then push on. You follow the faint glow of the stack. You find a broken tank and step through the opening, trying to avoid the broken glass that sits among the moss and algae. You work your way up the slanted tank, carefully, quietly. Somewhere water drips, and you swear you hear birdsong. Hanging plants catch the light, coating the place in a pale and sickly green. As you reach the edge of the tank, you hear something, an echoing hiss like a hydraulic piston. You quickly move up to where the tank opens into the central drum and look over the edge. The vast drum is like a cistern, with plants growing on all sides and wet mossy islands at its base. It is beautiful, and for a moment you can't see anything but tons of green. Then you see the sleeper. In a faint circle of light descending down through the drum, the sleeper lies slumped at an odd angle. They are surrounded by crates, and beside them on one of the mossy islands there is an object, a cylinder set on a tarp. It is connected to the sleeper's head. You flinch. Are they one of the others? One of the ones that escaped with you? You squint, trying to recognize them. They are twisted, broken open, wrong. You look away. Wait. You wait. Unsure what to do, your eyes fixed on the broken sleeper at the center of the drum, on the connection between them and the ship mind. You think of what might be passing through that connection. Thoughts? Memories? Or just data? You hear a sound, a quiet hiss, then soft footsteps. Below you, Ankita enters, her sidearm in hand. She must have followed the signal from the headset. Has she been spying on you? You watch her step onto one of the mossy islands, the water around rippling as she does. The gunshot breaks the silence, blanking out all noise. It hits Ankita's shoulder piece, the ceramic armor cracking but holding as she braces into the impact. Then she launches herself forward, the now activated armor launching her across the drum. Another shot goes wide before she reaches the cover of the crates beside the sleeper. Shit! You hear the shout from one of the tanks high on the far wall. Ankita reaches over and wraps a hand around the thick connection between the ship mine and the sleeper. What is she doing? You better come down here or I'll rip this right out of their head, she screams at the wall of tanks. You shiver at the suggestion. Ankita, stop! Ankita flinches, but she doesn't take her eyes from Ashton. Quiet, sleeper, Ankita shouts. A shot rips through the moss beside you, filling your vision with green. The shooter must be somewhere on the other side of the tank. Do that again, and I swear to God I'll tear their head off! Ankita shouts to them. Sleeper, you stay down! There's a long pause. All you can hear is the dripping of the water running down the walls of the drum. Then Ashton calls out. I'm coming down, Ankita. Don't do anything stupid, for God's sake. He appears at the far side of the drum, stepping through the shallow water, rifle raised above his head. Drop the gun, Ankita shouts. He throws it down onto the moss. As you lean out to watch, you see him catch your eye, clocking your presence. What are you doing? What are you up to here, Ashton, you sicko? She stands, keeping her sidearm trained on his head. You ripped my ship mind for what? Some freakish experiment? Ashton approaches with shaking hands, his eyes now fixed on the connecting bundle of wires that Ankita still has hold of. Steady, Ankita. It isn't like that. I needed the ship mind. You have to understand. They would have died without it. What are you talking about? I don't give a shit why you ripped my ship mind and crippled my ship. I should put you down right now. She tightens her grip on the connection. Typical of you, Ankita, and no curiosity. Ashton smiles shakily. That's why I never asked for it, for your help. You only look after yourself. That sleeper up there. They're just bait, right? To draw me out. Ankita sucks a breath in. Are you trying to give me more reasons to shoot you? I love them, Ankita. Ashton looks at the crumpled sleeper. I love them. And they were going to die. I knew you would never understand that. He starts closing the gap between himself and Ankita now, slowly inching forward. Don't do that, Ashton. Don't do that. Let the wires go, Ankita. Let us go. If you don't get out of my way. Please. I can't let you take it, Ashton. Ankita hardens her stare. You stole it from me. You left me for dead. You think I'm going to trust you after all that? I need it, Ankita. I need them to survive. Ashton is in reach of the sleeper now, of Ankita. I'm going to take them now, Ankita. He raises a hand. I'm going to take the ship mind and go. Ankita loosens her grip on the connection a little. Her hand is shaking now. Stop, Ashton. She lowers the gun a little. Stop. Seeing her drop her guard, he makes his move. A blur of movement, a struggle, a shot, another. You recoil back behind the edge as they ricochet around the inside of the drum, the sound deafening you. When you crawl back to the edge, Ashton is bleeding into the water, the red and the green. Ankita is standing at the center of the drum, the severed connection in her hand. The water drips endlessly. Drip after drip after drip. You force yourself to look at the broken sleeper. There is no sign of life, of humanity. They are just another broken object among the other broken objects. All around, living things grow and thrive. Ankita finally looks back up at you, tears in her eyes. She begins to say something that might be sorry, but you are already gone. Well, that got dark fast. What happened to her? Is she even here? No way of knowing. Well, with no idea of what happened after that, or where to even go, or what to do, I think I'm gonna have to end this episode here. There doesn't seem to be anything else. So, next episode, I don't know. I'll figure out something. I'll figure out a way to get some more money. That seems to be what we'll need to do. Get more money. Which I'll be able to do. Somehow. But, that'll be in the next episode. So, until then, I am Chester44, also known as Fly. This has been a Let's Play of Citizen Sleeper, and I shall see you all next time.